Hi everybody. Today I am so excited to have with me Kim and Van Mosley, and we are going to be making the original cheese zombies. Kim and I went to high school together down in California, Mount Diablo High School, where apparently the cheese zombies originated. So I've never made them before. I've asked her for the recipe a few times over the years, but I've never actually made them. So I'm super excited to have them show me this classic cheese zombie. So welcome, Kim and Van. I'm so excited that you guys could join me today. Thanks for coming over.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. We're excited to try to make these with you.
So what are we starting with, Kim?
Right now we've got 5 cups of flour in the mixing bowl. So first we're going to get 2 cups of hot water in here, and we're going to put our yeast in it to get it activated.
Now, how hot does the water need to be? Do I need to be so accurate that I'm measuring temperatures, or how do you gauge it?
You want it above room temperature, but you don't want it boiling because the boiling would kill the yeast.
So I'm going to dump the 3 tablespoons of yeast into our 2 cups of really warm water. And do we need to give it time to let it proof?
Usually we'll let it sit to proof while we add our sugar and our salt. And salt, we'll go ahead and pour that in, and it's 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and we dump that inside.
Okay, 2 or 5 cups of flour. Okay, and then our sugar.
And then our sugar, which is 1/3 of a cup of sugar, and we'll dump that in.
Now, what exactly does proofing your yeast mean?
It's going to activate it, so it will help the bread rise. You do want to use bread flour when you're making the zombies.
What is the difference? So you shouldn't use all-purpose flour. So bread flour, what's the difference between the 2 types of flours?
That is an all-purpose flour. It's kind of a middle of the road with your protein or gluten. Wanting a chewy, dense roll, you're going to want higher gluten or protein.
Okay.
So using the cake or the bread flour, not cake flour, you're going to get a higher yield. It's going to rise a lot
more. Okay,
better.
got it. Okay, that's good information because I probably would have used all-purpose flour. And then also, I think with the proofing of the yeast, to make sure that your yeast is not dead. Right. To make sure it's still active is good. So you just let it dissolve a little bit until you see some activity. It'll start foaming on the top a little bit. Okay, so you're mixing your sugar and your salt. Okay.
So we're going to turn the mixer on.
Just enough to combine it to get started. Okay.
And now we like to form a little well, but we do need to get our 1/4 cup of butter melted.
Melted, okay. I'll get that in the microwave melted while you're doing that.
And I'm going to make our little well. I always leave 1 cup of flour out to add later.
I'm back. Okay, so I've got the 1/4 cup of melted butter. We're just going to add this to our yeast and water. I'll stir that in for you. Okay, so you've made a well. Okay, and now what? We're going to add this right to the center of the well?
Now we're going to add it right into the center.
There we go. I'm so excited to be making cheese zombies because I haven't had these in like 30 years.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I shouldn't say that. We're not that old, Kim.
I know. No.
10 years, maybe.
10 years. And then we'll go ahead and turn this on, stopping occasionally to push the flour down so it gets mixed in there.
Now, are you going to add this final 1/6 cup to the mixer, or when you're kneading by hand?
If it looks really wet, we're going to add the whole thing.
So you can do either fully by machine, fully by hand, or half and half.
Right.
Okay. So Kim is like the cheese zombie guru. Many of us from high school have asked her for this. This is the original Mount Diablo High School recipe. So we've asked her many times for this recipe. So I know a lot of us are going to be making these this weekend. So we've done the partial kneading with the mixer, and now Van is going to knead the rest by hand. So Kim, how do you tell when the dough is done kneading and ready to rest? What's your way of testing that? Or if you need more flour?
First of all, I just like to pull it and see how sticky it is. If it feels sticky to the touch, you're going to want to knead more flour into your bread. Van will need to add a little bit more of the original 6 cups.
So just put a little bit of flour out on the counter.
Right.
Whatever
and
you had to
can
mix
just
it
go
on.
ahead and pull it out.
So you
And
still
you
have
can-
some of the extra flour there
Right.
in the bottom of the bowl.
And then he's going to start kneading the dough in. And as he does, we're going to sprinkle some. And then he's going to fold it inward.
So fold and knead, fold and knead, that's
knead.
what he's going
Right.
to do.
And that's what he's going to do. And then as he keeps doing that, because you want it to be soft looking, which it will momentarily. It just takes a little bit, and we're going to sprinkle some more flour on
So
there.
realistically, he could be kneading for what, 5, 10
5,
minutes?
10 minutes.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes longer.
But kneading it a little bit more like this and then adding the flour.
So we're going to let Van knead. He's going to do the hard work.
But this is the fun part.
He likes kneading. It is very therapeutic. So while he's doing that, Kim and I are gonna get the cheese ready and talk about some of the things that you can put in the filling. So we all know the original cheese zombie needs to use the cheese block,
blocks.
which shall go unnamed, but we all know what it is. If you want the original, it's what's gonna melt the best. But you have tried it with other cheeses and other things inside. So what other things have you put inside, or other cheeses that you've used at work?
Cheeses we have tried with cheddar cheese, but cheddar cheese, doesn't matter what brand, it has an oily base to it. So when it melts, it gets a little bit oily. That's why good old-fashioned block cheese is the way to go.
Not that we're necessarily condoning it,
Right.
but it is the original.
It is original. It is good. No matter what kid doesn't like block cheese.
It's fun just to try any kind of cheese with whatever fillings you want.
So what are some other things that you guys have put inside the cheese zombies that you've enjoyed or that have been good?
You can see, you've got your jalapenos.
I definitely am looking forward to this. I'm going to add a few rings of jalapenos to mine.
Right. You can literally put whatever you want into the cheese zombie. You could do a broccoli.
So probably with that, we might cook the broccoli first because
need-
it doesn't bake for enough time to cook what's inside. So whatever you put inside, I'm guessing you'd want to cook first.
You would want to cook first. We have used, I cover your ears, Joni. Ham and cheese are absolutely wonderful as a snack.
With or without onions.
Yes, you could put
That
onions
sounds
in
good,
them.
actually.
You
Yeah,
could
cheese
even-
and onions.
right.
And roasted red bell peppers. That would be
Yes.
really good.
And even roasted sun-dried tomatoes would be good too. Pork with some red bean sauce. That has been good as well.
I don't condone that. What about if you wanted to do something like a breakfast zombie? Do you think you could do like eggs inside? Would that have enough time to cook?
No, it wouldn't have enough time to cook inside. I would scramble the eggs first, maybe a little chopped ham. So that would be...
She's doing this on purpose. So let's get our
Yes.
cheese block ready. So size, amount.
Usually 1 to 2 ounces of cheese.
Okay.
If you're going to put other things in with it, I would suggest using 1 ounce.
Okay.
If you're just going to do the cheese, I would go for the 2 ounces.
Kim, I purposely wore white because I had this vision of the movie Fried Green Tomatoes in the kitchen scene where the 2 girls get in a flour fight. So I thought I better not wear black in case Kim goes rogue.
Need to make a little paste.
And starts
Oh,
throwing
never.
flour.
Never.
Okay.
I might make a mess all over myself, but
Now, how do you know that this is ready to rest?
how it just kind of sits there, it stays, but then it starts to come back.
So it's not sticky. It's
not
sticky
sticky at all.
anymore. And it is just slightly elastic. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now what are we going to do? We're going to roll it into a log
Kind of like
shape.
a log, right? You don't want to go too thin. We're going to want to cover it as it rests so it doesn't dry out.
So we're going to cover it with our light kitchen towel, cotton kitchen towel.
And we're going to let it rest.
Let it rest for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and show you the next steps. Okay, so the dough has been resting for just a little bit over 10 minutes. So you can see, if you remember, it's risen quite a bit. So Kim, with this recipe, how many zombies do you expect it to make?
Usually you will expect it to make about 24. You take your block of cheese and you're going to wrap it. And as you roll it...
Because what you don't want is the cheese to leak out, if possible.
Correct.
Okay, so how are we going to avoid that?
We like to pinch it, and I like to pull the pinches to the bottom.
So I see your technique, pinching the sides together of the roll and then pulling them under.
Right.
Okay.
And then make them into a little type of a ball. Oh, here she goes.
I'm going to put two jalapenos in the middle of mine. So I'm going to use a slightly smaller chunk of cheese. Okay, so I'm going to roll it. Pinch the sides together and then tuck those under, just like Kim said, making sure there's no seams that look like they could pop open.
Correct.
So we're going to form all of our zombies, cover them, let them rise till they're doubled, about an hour, and then we'll be back to put them in the oven.
Yes.
Okay, so we're back after our zombies have been rising for about an hour and 20 minutes, and Kim's just going to check, see if they're ready. And we're looking for what? Just that they've risen a little bit, maybe not quite half necessarily.
Right, they've risen and gotten a little puffy.
So you think they're ready to go in the oven?
Yes.
They look like it.
So we're putting them in the oven, 375 for
15 minutes.
And then we'll check them then, and that's usually about how long they take?
Correct.
Until they're golden brown.
They want golden brown on top, and then they'll be ready to eat.
Okay, so we'll put them in the oven and we'll be back when they're done baking. Okay, so our zombies are out of the oven. They've been baking for 15 minutes, and I think they look perfect.
They do.
I'm excited to try one. So Kim's saying that you want to loosen them from the pan with a spatula first, so that as you can leave them on the pan to cool, and then this way they won't stick.
Okay. Which
now we get to pick one.
Like?
I got to break it open and see.
All right, ready, set, go.
The cheese will be hot.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, look at that. Perfect.
What do you think?
Takes me right back to the quad. I feel like I'm back in high school sitting on the quad. Remember the name of our the snack shacks?
Doghouse.
And the puppy shack.
Puppy shack, yes.
Where you could buy these. Now you can make your own at home. You know you've been craving them for the 30 years that we have been too. So hope you'll give it a try. Thank you so much to Kim and Van for coming and showing us how to make the original cheese zombies. I'm so excited. Give it a try. Give us a like. Stop by the website, noboneslife.com, to get the recipe, and we will see you next time.